All of you, welcome back to course database management system. So our today's topic of video is introduction to schedule. So in this video we are going to discuss about why there is a need of schedule in the DBMS and how schedule works. So before discussing the concept of schedule with respect to DBMS, first of all we should know what is schedule or where we heard of this schedule. Schedule is nothing but a sequence. The sequence of anything. For example, in particular college you have timetable, so we can say that the timetable is a schedule of a subjects. So why schedule is important, why do we require schedule? Just imagine a situation in a particular college. Suppose there is a no schedule, that means no timetable will be there. So in that case what problem will be occur? So in that case maybe the case that two faculties going in the same class at the same time, so there is a conflict between the two faculties for teaching a subject to n number of students. So in order to avoid this situation, what we are doing, we are preparing a timetable where we are deciding the sequence of subject. For example, at 10:30 what is subject 1, at 10:30 subject 2, at 10:30 subject 1, 11:30 subject 2. In this way we are just deciding the sequence of subject, and that sequence of subject or order of that subject is called as a schedule. And why schedule is important? Schedule is important to avoid the conflict between these two subjects. Similarly, in case of database, n number of transactions are there which are executing simultaneously, and all these transactions involve a set of operation, because we know that it is not necessary that any transaction should consist of only one operation, because we have seen that transaction is a set of one or more operation. More than one operation can be involved in a particular transaction. So in that case there may be a issue in accessing a data item, because particular data item can be accessed at one time. Particular data item can be accessed at one time by only one transaction. More than one transaction cannot access same data item at the same time. So in that case you need to decide the sequence. So related to this, there is a concept of schedule. So what is a schedule in case of DBMS? So schedule is nothing but a order of execution of operations belonging to set of concurrent transactions, because in a database n number of transactions are executing concurrently and every transaction consists of set of operations. So we want to avoid conflict between the two operations while accessing a particular data item. So in that case we need to decide a sequence of order in which that data item can be accessed by different operation belonging to different transaction, and that sequence is nothing but a schedule. That's why schedule is important. So in short I can say that in order to avoid the conflict between the operations of a transaction, we require a schedule. So that what are the operation which will be the part of the schedule, or that involves in the various transactions, such as read operation, write operation, commit operation, abort operation. These are the various operations which are related to particular transaction. These many operations are involved, and the schedule also help us to determine the correct order of execution of a operation. So if we discuss about the schedule in case of a database, then we can find that mainly schedule is classified into two major categories: serial schedule and non-serial schedule. But these are two only major main types are there. But in detail, here we can see this is a detailed classification of schedule for transaction in database. So main schedule is divided into two major categories. They are called as a serial schedule and non-serial schedule. The non-serial schedule again divided into two categories: serializable schedule and non-serializable schedule. Serializable schedule is again divided into two types, such as conflict serializable and view serializable. Non-serializable schedule again divided into two categories, such as recoverable schedule and non-recoverable schedule. Recoverable schedule again classified into three categories: cascading, cascadeless and strict schedule. So we are going to discuss all these schedule one by one. But in this video we are focusing on only two major types, that is serial schedule and non-serial schedule. So in order to demonstrate the concept of serial schedule and non-serial schedule, I just taken the example. Just imagine a situation that transaction T1 wants to transfer 50 rupees from account A to account B, whereas transaction T intend to add 10% of amount of account A to account B. So again I am repeating, what is the aim of transaction T1? Transaction T1 wants to transfer 50 rupees from account A to B, whereas transaction T2 wants to transfer 10% amount of account A to account B. So for that purpose, what will be the serial schedule and what will be the non-serial schedule? So simultaneously we'll see what is serial schedule and how serial schedule works. So this is an example of a serial schedule. So here you can see, first of all we are performing read operation because we need to deduct 50 rupees from account A. So first of all we need to read the value of our account A. So what we have done, we have just read the value of A, then just we have deducted 50 rupees from account A and then perform write operation on account A. After that we'll perform read operation on account B, then we will add 50 rupees to account B, and finally we perform write operation. So in this way transaction T1 completed. So here what is your observation? Your observation is that unless and until transaction T1 will not finish its execution, T2 transaction will not get start. So this is a specialty of serial schedule. Serial means what? In a particular sequence. So in that case, what is the specialty of serial schedule? Unless and until one transaction will not execute its complete its execution, another transaction will not get start. Now here transaction T2 starts after transaction T1 complete its execution. Okay, when transaction T1 completed its execution, then T2's transaction start. Then it will read the value of A, then it multiply A with 0.10, that means it will give 10% amount will be stored in the temporary variable, then A minus temporary, so that much amount is deducted from account A. Then we perform write operation on account A, then we perform a read operation on account B. Then what we'll do, we'll perform add operation in account B, and finally we perform write operation. So in this way this serial schedule works, where we observe that transaction T1 completes its execution, then transaction T2 start, and then it's completed execution. So it is called as a serial schedule. Why it is called as a serial schedule? Because unless and until T1 will not finish its execution, T2 is not going to start its execution. Then this is a non-serial schedule. So here what is your observation? Here you can see that transaction T1 partially executed, then transaction T2 executed partially, then again transaction T1 partially executed, and again transaction T2. So we can say that this is a non-serial schedule. So what do you understand? What do you mean by serial schedule and non-serial schedule? In case of a serial schedule, complete execution of a particular transaction will takes place, after that another transaction start. But in case of non-serial schedule, we observe that one transaction executed partially, then again second transaction executed partially, then again first, then again second. So in this way at the same time two transactions are executing concurrently. So this is a main feature of a non-serial schedule. This is not in a serial, so but the output of both this schedule will be the same. So here you can see, first of all I am just reading the value of A, deducting 50 rupees from account A, perform write operation on account A, and then I am going to perform read operation from account A. After this, okay, so it will suppose you execute both this transaction, then you come to know that both this schedule will generate a same output. Okay, so in this case important thing is what? The sequence of operations. Okay, the sequence of operation is important. Now in this case, suppose before performing this, suppose I am going to perform this operation first, then in that case we'll face issue, because in this case we need to transfer 10% amount, but this change should be done first by transaction T1 and then T2 will transfer 10% amount. Suppose just imagine a situation, first of all we are executing this one and after this one, so in that case it is wrong, we are not getting the correct output, because in this case first of all you are taking 10% amount, but 10% amount is wrong. It has to be deducted with 50 rupees from account and then 10% will be calculated. So the sequence of operation is important, means it is not a case that suppose you are executing one transaction partially and then second, so you can call it as a non-serial. So sequence is important, but again it should be arranged in a proper order. So this is an example of serial schedule and non-serial schedule. So what are the benefits of a non-serial schedule over serial schedule? The main benefit is that in case of serial schedule, what you observe, transaction T2 has to wait for T1 to complete its execution, but this is not the case in case of non-serial schedule. T2 transaction T1 transaction is also executing, T2 transaction is also executing. So in that case waiting time is not there, means waiting time is very less as compared to serial schedule, but in case of serial schedule waiting time is more. So this is what an example of serial schedule and this is what an example of non-serial schedule. So we can say that non-serial schedule is better as compared to serial schedule as far as waiting time is concerned. In case of non-serial schedule, waiting time is very less or very low. So I hope you understand what is the concept of schedule in case of a database and what are the two main classes of schedule, that is serial schedule and non-serial schedule. So in the next video we are going to discuss more types of schedule. So in next video we are going to discuss about non-serial schedule, and there we discuss in detail rest of the types of schedule. Thank you.